Yeah, here. We're fine. Hello, everyone. Welcome to Get in the Garage.
We're a music podcast.
For music lovers.
Welcome. Welcome, welcome.
Welcome all.
Welcome all.
Hello, hello.
How is everybody?
Doing all right. Yeah, how you guys doing?
Wonderful.
Luke, you had a nice day?
Yep. I just had some garlic knots, and I can really smell them radiating off the microphone.
Delicious.
Oh, yeah, man.
This is a plug for Ilianos.
Yeah, Ilianos, Norwich, Connecticut.
All over Connecticut.
Yeah, right, because there's one that's like past Foxwoods, too, isn't there?
There's
One
one
there.
near Willimantic. There's one in Willimantic.
Yeah.
There's one in Niantic.
Yeah. Right on. So shout out to Ilianos. We love you. And
Give us some sponsor money.
They're just going to give us a bucket
Garlic
of marinara
knots.
sauce. They're like, here you go. I didn't ask for 10. Why'd you give me 10 pounds of Parmesan cheese? I just wanted a pizza.
Speaking of getting the best and wanting the best.
Yes, we got the best after wanting the best the week before last.
People!
We went and saw Kiss at the XL Center, right?
Yeah.
In Hartford, Connecticut. No, not the XL Center. I'm sorry.
Xfinity.
Xfinity, thank you. It's the old Meadows, I think.
Yep. On May
Yeah.
on May 14th.
Yeah.
We saw the makeup heroes ourselves.
Yeah. We had a good time.
We did have a good time.
It was a lot of fun.
It was Kiss's end of the road world tour, so it's like their final time coming around. I highly doubt it.
You know what I thought of when I heard that they were announcing a farewell concert?
Yes.
I had the thought that was like, oh, Kiss is just basically the discount furniture sales store that's always going out of business. You know what I'm saying? Like, we've all seen those.
Kiss has been going out of business since 1997.
No, they're always in business, and they're staying in business, baby.
Kiss
Gene
caskets.
Simmons, people, come on.
All right, so going to this concert, I feel like my mic's hot. So going to this concert, I wasn't expecting much. I'm going to be honest with you. I went to this concert expecting that we were going to go, and it was kind of going to be like a fun time, but like not great musically. Like I didn't expect to be Kiss to be up on par. I know Paul Stanley's had some trouble with his voice over the past couple of years.
Yeah.
But we went, and also, like, you know, full disclosure, I'm not like a big fan of like the fake Kiss members, Tommy Thayer and
I know, I always forget his name.
was
We'll just call him Peter
Tommy
Criss.
Thayer's been in the band longer than
yeah,
Ace Frehley was.
yes,
Like
which is
twice as long.
twice as long.
Yeah.
Which is pretty,
Yeah.
you know, what is his name? It's gonna really bug me.
Oh, yeah, the guy that did the Peter Criss.
Yes,
The cat.
yes.
Peter Crisp.
Peter Criss. He did great, though, man. He was like, he came out, he did Beth, he did Black Diamond. Those are two, like, Peter Criss sung songs. And I think he did great. I actually, in fact,
I was right. It's Eric Singer. I
Eric
just didn't want to
Singer.
say it wrong.
Oh, yeah, he's been in that band for a long time, too.
Yeah, and
about
he
the same time.
performed Peter Criss songs, I feel like, vocally better than Peter Criss does.
Oh my god,
You know what I mean?
What a hard feat.
We're watching the show, and by like the third song, I'm like, oh, are they piping in vocals? Like I thought they were piping in
They should.
vocals over, you know, because
Yeah.
it was like pristine. It was the choruses were like hot and great and really on target.
These guys sound like Def Leppard. What the fuck
They
is going
sounded
Dude,
really
it was
good.
Like, it was like if Def Leppard was Kiss.
And so I was kind of like bummed out for a minute, but then the camera goes on the drummer Eric Singer, and he's singing the high harmonies in every chorus while drumming pristinely. Tommy Thayer was killing it on the Ace Frehley character.
Yeah.
His guitar solo was incredibly cool. It was like the screen in back of them. It was like he was having like aliens invaded the concert, and he was like shooting rockets out of his guitar at the aliens.
He literally, it was like,
Yeah, and it went along with like what
Yeah.
was going on screen. It was amazing. Solo's
Yeah.
great. Eric Singer on drums, amazing,
Yeah.
great. I would go see this version of this band again, hands down. They
will.
were amazing.
They'll
they
be
were-
on this tour for another 3 years. So.
Yeah,
It was
exactly.
it was
Plenty of
really
time.
really good show. Even like the songs I wasn't familiar with, like the non-Kiss hits that they did play, because they like represented a lot of albums. It's supposed to be their farewell tour. It was really for the fans, hardcore.
yeah.
Because they did play like deeper cuts.
The army, not the fans. Have,
Thank you.
have some respect for those who have served.
I said to Mike right before Kiss goes on, I'm like, I was like, Mike, we've been to boot camp for a long time. Here we go.
It's the
Finally
final.
out in the field, in
finally
the
out
shit.
in the battles.
You're finally in the shit.
In the shit.
Please stand for the national anthem.
Some guy walked
Dun,
by.
dun, 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 dun,
That's-
dun, dun.
That's what they. So they played Led Zeppelin's "Rock and Roll" over the PA
yeah.
system, and then
Nice.
like when "Rock and Roll" was like done,
Yeah.
they all you're down, 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 and they come down on the platforms.
Nice. The drummer's coming down. The drummer's upside down coming down.
Yo, the drummer goes up later. He was already on stage.
I have a question. So, back when the original four split, let's say that was early '80s or mid '80s, I know for a time that the two replacements were different characters,
Right.
Like an Ankh warrior instead of a spaceman and a fox instead of a cat. Are they back to original four makeup?
Yeah,
Okay,
Yeah.
gotcha.
Yeah.
So-
So, yeah, they looked at it basically like, you know,
they're playing characters.
they're characters,
Sure, yeah, yeah.
right?
So
yeah.
like everybody, they kind of like all the stuff now. It never refers to any of the members by name. It's always by the spaceman,
The goblin or whatever
the
they call it.
demon,
Oh, demon.
the demon.
the
I don't know.
you have Paul Stanley on vocals is the Star Child. You have Gene Simmons on bass, who is the demon. Over the original Ace Frehley is the Starman,
Yeah.
and or the Spaceman,
Spaceman.
and then drummer Peter Criss would be the Catman.
Yeah, the Catman. But you know, I have to say, man, like when we went and saw them, so they had famous like rock artist open up for them, David. What was his last?
Garibaldi.
Garibaldi. Thank you.
Thank you, Jeffrey.
And it was cool. You know what
It was-
I mean? It's
it was
like,
Wait,
weird.
explain this because you just breezed right over it.
So
You said rock artist. He doesn't mean this man did not sing or play an instrument.
No.
what happened was a man came out on stage, was like, "Are you ready?" And everyone was like, "Hell yeah!" And then he painted a picture of Alice Cooper while we all listened to Alice Cooper.
Yeah.
He did it in the length of one song, which was
Wow.
amazing.
very good.
He's been on I think he's been on like Pawn Stars before. He's been on like a couple shows. I've seen him before.
Again,
What's the crossover beyond Punk?
Because they sold one of his paintings and he came out and he was like, "Yeah, I do the world's fastest paintings."
Sure.
Like he paints to music. It was cool to see a painter open up, but I wanted to see the original opening opening act, who was David Lee Roth, who was so bad they kicked him off the tour before COVID.
So bad he's good.
yeah.
I would have
see-
loved to see David Lee Roth, even if it was horrible. I would
Yeah,
have loved to see it.
I would have almost preferred to see it be horrible,
But
just to be like, this is
That's
great.
that's a sick fascination
Yeah, it
on,
is.
on
It
some
is,
level.
it is.
I mean, I say sick, I don't mean it like that, but you
no,
know.
but I know what you mean, though. Yeah.
And like on another level though, I see why they fired him, because the show they put on, it's top notch. It was great. You
Yeah.
got the blood. They spit fire. There was bombs. There was stuff I didn't expect.
Drum solos,
there were
guitar
bombs.
solos.
Yeah, man, like oh,
Oh,
that
sure.
kind of shit.
Pyrotechnics,
Not like
lots of pyrotechnics.
yeah. So you got like it was an entertaining ass show.
Yeah.
Even the songs you didn't like or didn't know, there was something happening on stage that was exciting.
Yeah.
Paul Stanley went out into the audience and he was like, "Can I come into the audience?"
They're sweating all over everybody.
Yeah, and he was just like,
It's just a trail of hair following him as he drifts over the
he's
crowd.
like, "I
It's a
need to be
tumble. It's a
invited."
tumbleweed.
Yeah. So he's like asking for permission. He's like, can you invite me out there, people?
And he's like,
People?
he's like,
People?
"I don't think you really want me out there. You guys gotta ask me to come." And, and then he-
Oh, yes, you do.
Yes, he does. And he rockets across the whole audience on like a thing, and then there's like a B stage in the back, and then he performed Love Gun on the back of the B stage. It was dope.
It was in the middle of the people and stuff too. But
Wow.
he stopped. He was like, "People in the back, let me hear you." He
Yo.
did everything I wanted to hear Paul Stanley say. I heard Paul Stanley say.
How you doing? Hot fun.
We are in Kiss. That's the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame inductees Kiss. He's like, they didn't want us, but because of you, we're here. Yeah, it was great, man. It was, but that's the thing is like, you know what is funny is like, they're larger than life, and it's this sort of like rock and roll circus to an extent.
Comic book.
Comic booky, and all those elements. Yes, they are there, and they're a bit like sort of like, silly. But here's the thing, man, is when you go see a band like Kiss, the whole like we play music, we understand like the whole that you're just like, this is a well-oiled machine. This show is the same thing every single fucking night, and they come out and they play their asses off and they entertain people, and they go, you know what I mean? It's that idea that you hear where it's just like, I'm here to entertain you. Like, you got your babysitters and you worked things out so you could come here, and they delivered a show where you're just like, fuck, man, that was a killer.
Yeah, not
rock and
only
roll
was
show.
it a concert, it was a show.
Yeah.
I appreciated it on so many levels. So
Yeah, just
awesome.
like class act performers.
50
man.
years of Kiss.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Right?
and it was classic. And Paul
released
Stanley's
CDs.
Paul Stanley's voice was a little shaky on Detroit Rock City when they kicked in, and then the rest of the set was like completely fine. It was great.
yeah.
It's wonderful. So
There's a great. I was telling Luke about it. There's a great interview on. Do you know the wrestler Chris Jericho? Mm-hmm. He has his own podcast and had Gene Simmons on as a guest. And if anybody ever just wants to like listen to Gene Simmons talk, he's not. I mean, okay, the dude's always massaging
Not
his own
many.
ego. You know what I'm saying? Like the dude loves the smell of his own farts, but. It's a good podcast episode. It's decent, and he talks about like the state of music today, and he does it all from a very like
realistic.
you know, like realistic, and just like you can tell, like he knows what he's talking about. You know what I mean? Because he's a business guy, man. Before he's a bass player, so he knows the industry through and through, and he like understands
Well
it
said.
and all that stuff. You know what I mean? So, like. And then thirdly, he's a demon. Let's not or actually, -1 is demon, and then the first is.
Did you or did you not get excited when he spat blood?
Yeah, it was.
Yes.
There was a moment where I was like, "This motherfucker's the devil." Like it was just. It was like. It was
Full
like,
commitment.
dude. It was. That's what it was. It was full commitment. The whole stage was just lit green, and he's like. Literally just playing nonsense the whole time on the bass, just like these weird like elephant whale like dive bomby things and stuff like that. And then he starts like shaking his head and spitting the blood everywhere, and you're like, this is actually scary. Like if there was like an 8-year-old kid here, he'd probably be like, oh my god, this man is so scary.
Well, let me tell you, like 11, 12-year-old Luke did see that, and it scared the shit out of me.
And you brought your like 12-year-old brother.
Yeah, he seemed he knew what was going on.
Oh, great story.
He's a
about him.
WWE kid though, so he's
Yeah.
not fazed by anything.
We did have a funny moment with him. Should I say it, or I don't know if I should say it. Where
well, yeah,
yeah. Well, we'll tell you off camera.
Sure.
it was good.
It was funny. He
it
hit
was
us.
good.
He hit us with a one-liner that was like, ho ho. Yeah, but so yeah. Anyway, Kiss. If I don't know if they're like how many shows are left on this
I
leg
don't
of the
know,
tour or
but-
whatever, but like if they're coming to a place near you and you're listening to this, like. You know, spend the $40 for lawn tickets or whatever, and just go check them out. Have a good like Wednesday or Thursday night because it's a show, man. It's good. You go out, you know what I mean. Get a pretzel and a beer, just watch Kiss.
Yeah.
Seduce you.
It's a good time.
Good times. Anyway, so moving on.
From our current events, we're going to go to a current anniversary.
Yes. So we've done a 25-year anniversary before with the Foo Fighters album, and we have another 25th anniversary. Jeff, you want to tell us what that is?
Yeah, so this is another record that came out May 21st, 1997. It is the third album by Radiohead called OK Computer.
Yep.
It's one of those like once in a generation on every critic's list, real kind of splash. Even though it's like not hit singles, there were some radio songs on it that hit in America. It's considered to be a landmark album of the 90s. It is kind of like a concept album kind of format about kind of new technologies infiltrating everyday life and the paranoia and confusion and isolation and distance between people that comes from that and those kind of themes. I first heard of this album when I was, I think, a sophomore in high school. Isaac Smith's brother probably burned a CD of it for me. And I've been hooked on Radiohead ever since hearing this album.
Yeah.
For a while, I would say that they were my favorite band. I don't know if today they're my favorite band, but they're on the short list of bands I love dearly. And yeah, 25 years of it. There's a great version of it that came out maybe 2 years ago. It's like an expanded with all the extra demo stuff and discarded tracks. I think that's called like OK Not OK Computer, something like that.
All right. Well, so this album was your first experience with Radiohead?
Well, everyone
I'm
heard
sure.
Creep.
Yeah, I'm sure I heard Creep beforehand, but as far as an album, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
How did you find you listened to them? Like, did you start here and work backwards, or did you start here and then like move forwards and then go to the back?
I kind of,
I know, you know, if you
yeah,
remember.
I picked around. I listened to OK Computer, repeat, and then I went from there to the album before it, which is The Bends, which is heavier guitar
95.
stuff. Even though OK Computer has its guitar in every track, but I went to The Bends, and then probably like Hail to the Thief, which was from 2003, and then the 1-2 of Kid A and Amnesiac probably after that. So that's when I was probably 18 getting to those records. And then when I started college, or maybe the second year of college in 2007, they dropped In Rainbows, which is another like it's between In Rainbows and OK Computer for my favorite Radiohead albums. But yeah, I've been like a Radiohead super duper fan
Yeah.
for however 17 years or so, half my life.
Yeah.
And it's because of this record. Like this record starts off with it's just like it sounds so different. And I wasn't someone who grew up on like prog rock and like things that were really spacey and strange sounding. And this whole record is like, it's kind of, if you boil it down, you could play everything on an acoustic guitar and sing along, but there are so many strange elements on this record sonically.
Very like not in the same way at all, but very like Beatles White Album-y, where it's
Sure.
like, because you take the grunge period at the time and it would come pretty formulaic, even to like where music, like people weren't really using the studio as instrument, like people were, but you know what I'm saying, on a
Yeah.
large scale, like there's a big rock band. And for them to bravely like go in there and Wilco was kind of doing the same thing at that time too, I guess to some extent, with like the experimentation from like a straightforward rock band into like this. And it's just like, this record, it must have been like everybody telling them not to make this record because it's arty and like it's got like distorted like bass for like maybe half the song, and then like the bass tone switches, or maybe the bass cuts out and then like acoustic guitars fill in.
Yeah.
Or like, you know what I mean? So those kind of decisions at the time, like there was a lot of stale records, and then this record is exciting, that it's dramatically different. It's not all one tone. There's like really quiet, soft songs, and sometimes the quiet, soft song builds into chaotic noise at the end. And I really, it stands out at the time. Like this album's, it's 25 years old, but even to somebody my age, I'm 30. So when I was in high school, I graduated 2010. This album at the time would have been like classic album status when I was in high school already. Right. So it's for that to have classic album status so fast, like have classic recognition, is also I think something that stands the test of time. Like we talked about the Foo Fighters Color and Shape. That has like a classic-y albums thing with it, but it's not this record. This record is a classic album.
I think this album, like this
Dark
record,
Side of the Moon.
That's what I'm saying.
Dark Side of the Moon level.
I think it because I think it like
that's what it's always compared to. That's the
right
90s Dark Side of the Moon.
The progressive element that kind of like weasels its way into all different genres of music. It's kind of like they were the ones who like took it, picked it up, and placed it forward a few steps, and it's just like, okay, no, like we can make this kind of music. It's 97, this kind of rock music,
right?
But we can do it with like a cool concept and an overarching theme, and like make it progressive, but like progressive in sort of a digital way, like in a sort of space agey way. But like it's not fucking Rick Wakeman pretending he's like an astral, cosmonaut or something. It's
right.
like
the prog element of it isn't Dungeons and Dragons. The prog element of it is computers.
Yeah, right. It's not fantastical. It's digital.
And like classic era, late 60s, mid 70s prog rock. That's like guys who like to play a lot of notes. Whereas OK Computer and Radiohead music in general is like guys who love to make a lot of different sounds.
Yeah, that's why I think the Pink Floyd comparison makes the most sense.
Because you listen to this record and it's like, all right, I guess on some parts of some songs you're like, oh yeah, there's 5 guys in this band. But then you listen through a verse, a pre-chorus, a chorus, a bridge, the next verse, and you're like, did one dude play like 6 different instruments on this track? And that's like what it is. Or you think like the lead guitar on, I mean, on fucking everything, Subterranean, Homesick Blues, or on Paranoid Android and stuff, and you just think, what pedals, or like how did they even make the guitar sound like this? Like these crazy robotic, like panning, like the mixing on this album is crazy. This is the first full length that they worked with Nigel Godrich, who he had produced, I think, 2 tracks on the Bends, and then he became their full-time guy starting with this album, and he has been the only producer with the band for all of their albums since. And this is like full sonic, like I've listened to this album, let's say literally 1,000 times. Every time I listen to it, I think I have every single nuance and sound and like moment and little ping and little harmonic and little ring modulator thing memorized, and I know what's happening. And then I'll be like, wait, has this track always had tambourine underneath the bridge? Or like something strange. I never know. It's like you could never get tired of this record.
There's so many layers.
Jingle bells, like on the first track, there's jingle bells the whole time. And it's kind of, sometimes I listen to it and it's like jingle, like my brain clicks in. And then sometimes I get halfway through and I go, oh, I forgot there's jingle bells all over this track. Like, because your brain is paying attention to something else. Yeah. And the songs, man, like the sounds are crazy. That's what really draws me to this record, is like the sounds. The Tom York's singing he's one of my favorite vocalists ever. But the songs are just so knockout. There's such stellar songwriting on this record, and
it's really different arrangements too. Like even if it is a verse, chorus, verse, you don't really realize that's what it is, because it's just the music, it lends itself to, like you said, the computer theme. It does sound like it's like being played like. It's gonna sound dumb, but it sounds like it's being played inside a computer.
Right.
Like, you know what I mean? On some level, and like that's like a real far out, thing to say. But like, like you said, the songs on it are stellar. Like it's a hit, not hit, Karma Police. You know what I mean? Like that's such a different song for it to be like the most popular song on the.
That song was on like Now 3 or whatever.
I know, and it's like and it's like in this record too.
Really?
Karma Police, which is kind of singable and all that, but it's strange still.
It's a strange hit, and it's got like it's like we said, like the Foo Fighters record is post grunge. This is also post grunge,
sure,
but like completely different way.
Yeah, because these guys are more influenced by like the Smiths from the early '80s, U2 and things like that.
Yeah, this band really doesn't have like anything to do with being post grunge or grunge at all, because like their first album is the grunge record.
Right. Their first album's their worst album.
Yeah, and it's their
I
worst
never
record.
listened to that album.
Every album after that, I think they were striving to always make a classic album, where some bands try to be a great band. This band was trying to make great albums, and it shows. This record is, I mean, the songwriting on here is stupid strong. The arrangements are unto themselves. Like, now you would describe bands as being Radiohead-like, you know what I mean?
Yeah. A band that I enjoy a lot, the 1975 put out an album a couple years ago that was compared to this. So kind of like the next generation taking the torch. For all the kids out there, this song has a TikTok song featured. The song Let Down, which starts with the dun 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 dun. It's like really plingy, ringy guitar. That's like a big TikTok thing now. So,
is it?
For all you kids out there?
Yeah, I'm up on 3. 1, 2, 3.
Yeah,
it's gonna be the cover.
Spray that. And I'll just dive into this record if you're just someone who really wants to hear what a band like firing at all cylinders and really like creating a work of art musically, dig this record. And maybe for you it'll be like how it was for me, where this was a jumping off point into a lifelong obsession with the band. And my summary of this music is like, when I was 15, that's the age where you're starting to really like not be a kid and really like have your own identity more and more and more. Every day it seems like you're noticeably more mature or older or more yourself. And I listened to 3 albums in that year that were like, it was OK Computer, it was Purple Rain by Prince and Dark Side of the Moon by Pink Floyd. Those were like my obsessive listening to my sophomore year of high school. And this record especially, I listened to it and I went, okay, there are people in the world who think and feel like me. Like this was the first record that I fully was like, oh, not just songs, but like something that like my soul fully like connects and goes, I can put this on any time of the day, and it makes me like explore my own psyche and my own emotions and feelings about things. And, and not to say like you couldn't feel the same about any kind of record, but like for me personally, this is like the one. This is my short list. I could never listen to it again. I haven't listened to this record before this week. I don't know, a year and a half, and it's still like without a doubt a top 5 album of all time for me.
I think there's certain albums that have that quality. It's like it's like revisiting an old friend.
Yeah.
And like just picking up where you left off. It has that sort of quality to it. Like everybody has like those certain albums that's just like you're revisiting an old friend, and it's just like you're going back and just spending a day with them or something like that, you know?
I mean, if you like drops like the strummy lo-fi sound of exit music for a film, and that builds, and you have the drum fill into the fuzz bass for the last chorus and verse, and it's just like,
yeah, you can really bathe in this.
Dun, 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 dun,
Yeah.
bah, and then the bass is just like, oh. It's the best.
Yeah, there was a lot of moments where
best.
it was like, build and then that explosive, like explosive yet ambient at the same time, and you're just like, whoa.
Yeah, there's all this space and
and
the
it's
work with,
so
like,
strange.
all the,
It plays
like,
with a lot of
modulation
space.
and all kinds of special musical special effects that were like layered throughout the whole thing too. Oh man,
Also,
beautiful.
A plus headphone record. Just
Oh,
I mean,
yeah.
this is what this is how I spent my high school years, was
I
sitting in my room
wouldn't-
listening to this record.
See,
basically.
like this is one of the special records where I would say it's probably worse when you listen to it out loud, better in headphones, just to get the modulating and everything,
right.
everything whipping
Panning
around,
and
everything whipping around your head, and you have your eyes closed. I listened to it with my eyes closed. It was great.
Yeah.
Also, the last song too.
The Tourist.
Great album ender. It's just like it's a great.
Yeah.
It's the summer. It sums up.
like
It's
this.
it's the freaking. It's just I like it. It's the warm. It's like a warm, like a slow walk home. So like I noted that too. I was like album closer. Like let's
Yeah.
And it ends well. It's like it is a classic album. We're saying that we're talking about it, but
Yeah.
if you what.
I was just thinking, I found during COVID times, during lockdown times, I found a YouTube video, and I'll have to find it again and share with you guys. And it was like, the title of the video is, I remade the entire OK Computer album only using my voice. And it's to say this guy did an a cappella version is vastly understating what he did, because he actually sang and found like the same modulation, like guitar effects, and was singing. So it's fucking crazy. It's
Well, if you
it's the work of a madman.
if you find that
Mad genius.
if you find that link, we'll link it up in the video
Yeah,
so
we
we
can link it
can
in the
share it with
description
everybody.
box.
Y'all
Yeah,
can
we'll have
send
to
it
try
to
to
the
find it.
chat.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is a cold 10. This is a 5-star. This is like
Yeah.
desert island. I sold my collection of CDs. This is one of the few that I saved and didn't sell.
Yeah. There you have it.
Yeah, I would agree. Also, like me, I was always like more on like the Wilco bend of just things. This album, if you like that kind of thing, this album is like, I think it's probably better than Yankee Hotel Foxtrot.
And it was before.
Yeah.
They did that because they went, well,
Yeah, it's like this. You could tell. It's like this band's on the kick. It's on that whole like, it's art as a record vibe
Yeah.
again. It's
Yeah.
of that time. So,
Right.
Crazy album.
Let us know what you think. Do you think that it's a good album or not? Let us know.
okay or not okay.
Okay or not okay? We can put that. We'll
It's a
put
binary.
Oh,
choice.
I also wanted to shout out Microsoft Sam before we end this. Microsoft Sam
Hello, this is
made a appearance on this album. So shout out to
fitter,
Microsoft Sam.
happier, more
Yeah.
productive.
It was a great album to listen to this morning in its entirety while I was doing
Oh,
lawn
yeah.
work.
Yeah.
I was outside mowing the lawn and I was like weed whacking and all that stuff this morning.
Yeah.
And I listened to the whole thing and I was like, oh, yeah.
Did you get existential lawnmower
I may have, especially when I came out of the shadow of the maple tree into the sunlight.
Oh
It's
yeah.
like, ah. Yeah, fantastic. All right, well, let's take a quick break. We're gonna come back and talk some current events.
We're going to talk some current events, new music.
New music. We'll be right back.
Hey, Mike,
Yeah,
do you ever have emotions?
I do.
Well, I have the podcast for you.
Okay.
It's Feel Feelings with Danny and George.
Yep.
They take emotions and feelings and they talk about them with a guest every week.
Mm-hmm.
They sit down and they go through it all. It's not just sad emotions, not just happy emotions. They cover the full range. Maybe they tell a fun
Anecdote.
There you go.
Yeah.
They do one of those.
Yeah.
And this podcast, I've been on it. You've been on it. It's a really great show.
We had a great time.
Yeah, and the feelings can get heavy and light and everywhere in between. And it stars my childhood best friend George Bruderman,
Yep.
and it also stars our new friend Danny Getz.
Yep.
And it's out on the Wasted Robot Network, a podcast network that we are on, Get in the Garage podcast.
Yeah.
We should check them out. There's tons of great shows, and this is just one of them.
Yeah. So check it out.
And feel your feelings
Feel your feelings. Out every Friday.
with Danny and George,
All right. Welcome back, everyone. Welcome back to Get in the Garage.
a music podcast.
For
Music lovers. Yeah, baby. We gotta get that on a T-shirt. So going into half number 2 here, there were 2 pretty big albums that dropped within the past 2 weeks. The Friday before last, Kendrick Lamar
Yep.
dropped the album. What is it again?
It's called-
Mr. Marble and the Big Steppers.
Mr. Morale.
Mr. Morale.
and the
Sorry,
Big Steppers.
I can't read my own writing.
You say Mr. Marble? Mr. Marble and the Big Sleepies.
Yep.
You just made liquid death come out of my nose.
Oh.
Not the death.
Mr.
The irony. Can you imagine if
Mr. Marble.
can you imagine?
I'm Kendrick Lamar. Just dropped Mr. Marble.
Mr. Marbles.
Call me Kendrick Lamarbles. Anyway.
It's him like shooting dice on the cover, and you're like, what the fuck is this?
Oh my god, I can't even.
Oh God! All right, yeah. So Kendrick Lamar released this album.
He's like, because I get all the marbles.
Like all the Lamar,
Two
he
weeks
gets all-
ago, his first album in 5 years.
Yes.
Or I'm going to misquote the lyrics, but at some point in the first line, he's like, it's been 1,841 days or whatever.
I went to write that down.
Yeah,
didn't.
it's a meme. So go on the meme farms. You'll find it growing, the crop. First album in 5 years. It's a double album. Although when I read that, I'm like, the last bunch of every album he makes is 75 minutes long. So this is the
Yeah,
longest
right.
by like 2 minutes longer than To Pimp a Butterfly. But
Yeah.
it's broken up into 2 halves. So maybe on the physical versions, it is double discs and all that. 9 tracks on each half. And this is like
1,855 days.
55. Oh, I thought it was 41. That's close.
Close.
This we talked about a couple weeks ago before it came out, and we talked about the Heart Part 5 video. He is like my favorite hip hop artist of our generation, and this took me the longest amount of time to start digesting
Yeah.
of all of his albums. It's like Mike said, it's pretty dense. It's sprawling. It's very
It's incredibly
Yeah.
dense. Is like an understatement.
Yeah.
It's a big album.
It's got a lot going on.
It's so personal too, and it's so like currently personal. Like he used
Yeah.
to do that like when I was a kid viewpoint of stuff, and this is like I'm in my mid 30s and I have kids and a wife, and I used to cheat on her a lot and blah blah
Yeah.
blah blah,
I'm
and
fighting my ego.
my
at
demons
every
and my
turn.
family trauma, and
Yeah.
Yeah,
I kind of like
introspective.
it though.
I like it too. It's not like an album where you pick it up like that Radiohead album is a heavy album as well in the same sense. Not in the same sense, but it's a heavy album in a different sense. This is like a heavy album in like a really like trauma rooted sense,
Yeah.
and like almost like a community that I don't fully understand sense. So in those aspects of it, that's what made it a bit of a denser listen. So like you had to listen like twice as much because like for someone like me who are like, I'm just gonna say white guy, it's like you're not getting everything on the first listen, and then like the other parts of it, too, is it's literally a long album, like you said, and on top of that, it's got like not like it's got like that argument track on it where him and his girl are like arguing through like the whole track, and
So that's a rough one to get through, man.
it is a rough one to get
That was
through.
a rough one to get through.
Because especially like people who don't like to hear like yelling, and are like have like that kind of thing. It's like you're listening to it and you're listening to someone's shit, somene's dirty laundry. And
What's that one called? We Cry Together.
We
or
Cry
something?
Together. Yeah, it's featuring Taylor Page. Yeah.
Yeah, it's I'll,
Like-
full transparency. Sitting here today, I just got through my second full listen because I had to take a break after like 5 tracks,
Yeah,
which means
Yeah.
I'm getting through a quarter of the album at a time. And I used to all of his other albums I inhale, and they're all dense and filled with everything, and they're like sonically like there's so much going on, so interesting, and
Yeah.
so much variety of sounds. But this one, I think it's because I am also 34 years old and I've gone through my fair share of fighting my own stuff and dealing with my own issues. And you hear about, sometimes it's kind of easier to listen to someone's childhood tales about growing up in an inner city where people are selling drugs and stuff sometimes, because I never
Yeah.
experienced that. So I'm removed. And it's like I'm watching a scene that I
right.
was never involved in. Whereas this, he's a famous guy with a lot of money and a lot of different problems. But I listen to a lot of this record and I'm like, yeah, I've also had to come to terms with my own self through therapy and blah,
Right,
blah,
right,
and
right.
yeah,
He bears
so-
it all. But to me,
right.
this album is his prog album. In my when I listen
Mm.
to it from that perspective, because I'm like, yeah, this is rap, but is it really? You know what I'm
Mm.
saying? Like in a way where there's like a lot of like spoken word type of vibes to it.
Yeah, yeah.
There's a lot of incorporation of like stringed instruments and piano and sort of just like sounds of people tap dancing. It's like his
Yeah.
it's like his pet sounds. It's like his smile session style thing. Like
not very drum heavy.
No.
So like that was like, because I think that's kind of what you're getting at. It's rap without drums. There's not a ton
There
of
aren't
drums
these
on it.
big banger anthem.
No, there's like
Right,
something. There's something
right,
keeping
this-
rhythm, but then
Yeah.
you're right too. There's no big banger like.
Like All Right or Humble or
Yeah.
yeah.
Absolutely.
swimming pools and
Yeah, right. It's not a. It
'Cause all of
doesn't
his-
feel like a pop album
Or
by
does
any
it-
means.
No, it's not a party album.
Mm-hmm.
It's a introspective album.
Yeah.
It's kind of like, I mean, I don't know. It's like it doesn't really have like Stevie Wonder vibes, but at the same time, it's kind of got Stevie Wonder
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
vibes. It doesn't have like the good. It doesn't have like a lot of the. But it does. It has like the sweet and sourness, but like Stevie never really gets that sour on people.
Mm.
You know what I mean? Like where this one is more of like a lot of dirty laundry with all that like
Yeah.
hard family stuff.
Yeah.
In love. That like Stevie Wonder would put into his music. Like you were saying too, like it's not so much a rap album, definitely a hip hop album.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's not to say he raps all over it, but that's you know what I mean.
But this is, I think, because from what I've seen about this record is there's like you love it or you hate it. Like there's a lot of people who are kind of hating on this album, and I don't. I mean, maybe this statement sounds pretentious, but I just look at it and I'm just like, maybe you just don't get it, because I mean I don't get it,
I don't think
but
there
I
was,
get it. You know what I mean?
Yes,
You know what I'm saying?
a lot of
Yes.
the backlash I'm seeing is because something he comments on throughout this album is cancel culture and Twitter voices and
Right.
and groupthink and all that, and he's putting it all out there, warts and all. He features whatever you want to say heavily, but on a couple tracks, Kodak Black, who's a
Right.
guy who's pled guilty to assaulting a 16-year-old girl when he was almost 20, and
Yeah.
so it's like, but that's part of what it is like this whole statement about how culture is currently. Because think about what life was like in 2017.
Yeah.
It is very different today. Like he has a whole track. It's about his transphobia and homophobia growing up. I think it's called Auntie Diaries.
Yeah.
It's like the 4th to last track, and he's talking about, I had an aunt who was gay and we didn't understand it, and everybody said this and this, and then I grew to understand it and care more and evolve. And then he talks about, I had someone going through a gender transition and all those things. And then he talks about like, I was a guy on stage and a white girl wanted to sing my words with me, but then I started to feel like you can't say those words. And it's like, well, should any of us be saying certain words, and what words belong to different groups, and hate versus empty words that are just part of slang or part of culture. And this is, I love all of his albums. They're all like they're all like Moby Dick novel. You know, it's like these epics that all the themes musically and lyrically tie in all over the place. But the closest comp I found for this album was like Frank Ocean put out Channel Orange, and then a couple years later put out Blonde, both critically acclaimed. But when Blonde came out, people were like, this is like this like diary journal entry. There's no like, this is R&B still and hip hop still, but like where's the beats and grooves and like and the fun stuff, and it's more like a lot of organ and piano and kind of like singing, and whether the song structures weren't first chorus and this is, he has always been breaking the mold. I love it though, because he's like a visionary, and he has songs about I'm not the savior of hip hop, but it's the mantle that's been put on him, and it's his last album with his record label, TDE, Top Dog Entertainment. So who knows where he's gonna go from here? But I love it. I love his evolution, and it's such great music. It's such great music. Like, you're not gonna be slamming this out of your car in the summer. Like,
no, this isn't gonna be like this isn't the album of the summer.
Yeah,
this might be the winter of your discontent, though. It's, but for me though, this is not like the time to release this record. This the time of like with everything on here.
You mean time of the year?
Yeah,
sure.
This is like a fall. This is a fall record. This is an introspective sit inside record. Because I hear what you're saying. Because I listened to this in 2 full hunks twice. And the first time you're just like, dude, like it's just so much emotion getting thrown at you, and you're just like, you feel like you just went to the therapist. Then the second listen, it gets a little better, but like in hunks and pieces, it's much more digestible. It's cool to sit and listen to it in one statement, hear what it is. But,
it's a slow burner, man.
It's a slow burner. This isn't gonna be, and it might be fully revealed that this is a transition record in the long run. You don't know that yet, so it's, you know,
because he does some singing on this too. That's a little bit different. He does a lot. Not to say that he doesn't always switch up like his flow, like his rhythm. But he's doing that all over this record, and like different voices and different pitches and different stuff. And
I'm used to that stuff.
And that's the thing, is like he's not done that before. But yeah, everything about this, it's just moving forward. I think it's moving the genre of hip hop and rap in a direction that is forward. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think it's going to take a lot of listens to settle in. But even going back on the second listen, I'm like, all right, I'm familiar with these songs now. It's like a great movie that's like a Stanley Kubrick movie where you watch it and it's so like, you have to like get it like into your eyes and your bones, and then you can view it again or listen to it again and be like, oh, okay. Yeah. Now that like the shock of like how different or how like alien
unsettling
and all that,
it could be.
Yeah. Because like To Pimp a Butterfly is like considered largely to be like his big statement, and that's like this 70s like jazz fusion record, and it's like Marvin Gaye mixed with like, I don't know, it's just all it's so different, and that took me, same thing, the first listen, second listen, third, and now I'm like, none of this sounds strange to me now.
Yeah.
And then to the concept, just one to maybe tie it up a little bit, the way that the beats are in this record is, it's not like an easy beat listen. It's not like you're listening to the same kind of drums the whole time. It's like switch up, like a complete stylistic change of maybe just like an organ, and then maybe like a small like ding 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 kind of thing going on, and then like, so that is probably where I, over the lyrical content, was more like, whoa, he throws changes up at you on like every, you know,
and sometimes it's like every minute and a half in a 5-minute song,
almost to where like
the whole feel change, and you're like, Oh, okay.
Yeah. So
I love it. I love Kendrick Lamar.
yeah, I
And
think this is gonna.
on the 10th listen, I'll tell you what I really think. So we'll come back. We'll do a 5-minute segment. Let's say in a month or
right.
something like that. We'll each listen to it a couple more times.
Yeah. We'll live with it for a while and digest. All right. So moving on to another more recent release, released last Friday.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
The week after the Kendrick album.
This has not at this time has not even been out a week yet.
Oh, it hasn't?
No.
Oh, no,
This
no,
just
no.
got released
This Friday.
This
past
Friday.
Friday.
Yeah. Okay.
the
It's
album
Harry
right behind you?
Styles. Harry's House.
Other side.
Better Homes and Gardens
Back here.
spokesman.
Yeah, so
Cover boy.
before
Better Homes and Gardens.
before I
cover boy.
even realized that he was releasing an album, or that the album had come out, or something like, because full disclosure, people, it's like I'm not really hip to the new Harry Styles record coming out. You know what I mean? Right? I'm more like, oh, Kiss released a third take of a track or something. You know what I'm saying? Like that's what I'm hip. Spotify knows me too well. That's what they're suggesting. So I wasn't really hip to the Harry Styles thing. I actually, in contrast, had received this this edition of Better Homes and Gardens with a interview.
holding a leaf.
Yeah,
Because he is in a garden, I guess.
yes. So it says "Welcome to Harry's House," and it's the 100th anniversary of Better Homes and Gardens, and they got Harry.
Who better to get?
They got Harry.
It's a big get. man.
I read some of the article. It is worth a read. It's actually pretty cool. He talks about like the journey with COVID and all of that stuff. And that's what's interesting, I think, to A-B these two albums, because they're like two completely different albums, but they were kind of like, Kendrick Lamar had 5 years to do this, whereas Harry Styles, I think, had about a year or a year and a half, maybe two.
Sure.
But there is a lot of like, this is a COVID album, quote unquote. You know what I mean? And let's get into it, because I actually really like this record.
Fine Lines was 2019. This obviously 2022.
Okay.
So
Yes, but I really enjoyed this record.
Harry's House.
So Michael, as a non-pop listener, we just described you. Why do you like this record, dude? Because like I'm in the same boat as you.
Yeah, I didn't think I wouldn't say this. I didn't think that I wouldn't like it, right? As much as I would probably just listen to it and been like, okay, yeah, like I can talk about this. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
kind
like
of thing.
this isn't my favorite thing, but
Going
like,
into it,
yeah.
but coming back around and like having spent some time with this album, it's so digestible. I think it's less than 45 minutes long. It's like 43 and change or something like that. And
It is 41:59.
thank you. And so good album length, and then like good pop songs. If I have one criticism of the album, I felt like it started off strong with a lot more upbeat songs, and then kind of finished off with maybe like some slower, more vibey songs. I mean, the idea that an artist is going to write an album with it being played on a vinyl record format in mind, I don't necessarily know that that's something that was in his mind when he released the album. I would have liked a different track listing, but I like all of the tracks. I wouldn't, I just rearrange them a little bit. You know what I mean? But other than that, like, but cool synth stuff. Maybe lyrically, I don't feel like it's there, but also this isn't an album for me. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not his target demographic, so I'm not going to be like into the bubblegum stuff. But, man, maybe if this was, we said the Kendrick, much more of a fall-winter album. This album plays like
Perfect
it's
time.
that's what I'm
Perfect
saying.
time.
This is the album of the summer. This is going to be the soundtrack to like every 17-year-old summer this year.
Just play it at 7 p.m. So by the time it's getting to the end, the sun is just over the trees.
I was
coming down.
just gonna say that because like Mike's note on the track listing, and I agree. It could use a couple of faster songs. I think that's where Harry shines the most on this album. Even is the more upbeat tunes, but you're right. If you played it like while the sun was going down or like about to, you would get this great startup. Like it opens with music for a sushi restaurant, which is like
It's a Prince track.
Thank you. It's a Prince rip,
Right.
but
Yeah.
it's like Harry Styles doing Prince. It's cute. It's like it's like all the things he's like. I think he says like I could put like whatever on you, fried rice or crack an egg on you. It's like it's like cute.
Throw some chow mein on you.
He's like I could crack an egg on you. It's like
Drizzle you in
it's probably one of my
sauce.
lyrically. That's probably one of my favorite things on that record, on the whole record, is like him talking about like the girl in relation to the date in the sushi restaurant.
Yeah.
Kind of cool. But yeah, Prince, all over. The second track, This is
What's the second one called?
Late Night Talking.
Oh yeah, I like that one a
I
lot,
could
too.
listen to this
Yeah.
song for 500 listens in a row, not
Mm.
get tired of it. This is 80s Madonna
Yeah.
build up dance style track. The chorus is about talking to your girl late at night and giving her everything she wants, and falling in love. It's so danceable, super great keyboard textures that are layered with his vocals that go up in the choruses. Great. It's one of my favorite songs on
Yeah.
here. And then as you get to Grape
I like
Juice.
the grapefruit. I like that one.
Oh, grape! Yeah,
Oh,
please,
grape juice. Grape juice.
please tell us what you sent us in the group chat
Oh,
because
yeah.
you are right.
So I immediately start that song, and in the first 3 seconds, I'm like, did they sample the intro of Limp Bizkit's Nookie? Because it's that.
Oh. Yeah.
And then it goes into like piano and stuff. Listen to
I
them.
just did
You'll
it.
hear that they are very
I did
similar.
it. It's like
Very
it's not very similar. It's almost the same thing.
right.
Yeah.
So, it's that first 30. I had no idea. I thought you were like the song was like a total rip. You were like, this sounds like a total rip of another song. It does not. It just sounds like that.
It's that first 3 seconds when the track literally started, and me being 11 years old was like, "Is this Nookie? What the fuck is going on right now?"
Take that cookie.
But
You know
that's
what to
classic
stick it.
rock, so I wouldn't have been
Yeah.
surprised.
Yeah. That's
And I
the
love
one-
that track.
Is that the one where he's got like the telephone style filter over like
Yes.
his voice,
Yes.
right? And
Yeah.
he does a very like Paul McCartney-ish kind of
and it's
thing.
very keyboard heavy.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You're great catch on that. It was Paul McCartney because it's like almost like he doesn't sing it like Paul McCartney would sing that song. But it's very
It sounds like a Paul McCartney song.
Yeah.
Like if Paul McCartney wrote that song and
Right.
and Harry Styles was like, I'm going to like redo this song.
Right.
See, for me, that song I love that song. Lyrically, for me, that's where like I could have used like a little bit more like exciting metaphor and stuff. But that's just like nitpicking. Like
Yeah, yeah.
it's got like the honey thing, which is kind of overdone a little bit. Like if I'm getting granular, but like because I do think this is a great record. I'm really excited to listen to it all summer.
Yeah, even the slower stuff, the ballads, there's like some nice acoustic
Yeah, they're
guitar
pretty.
parts in
Yeah.
there and like some really nice melodies and harmonies and all that stuff. Like he's got a good ear for music. So I think he is someone that like, maybe in 5 years he makes like a really killer album. You know what I'm saying? Like
Well, even
that's not a dog on him, his albums that he has now, of course. I'm just saying.
even to say though, this is like a young guy making a pop record for largely teenagers, probably, and like people 20 years old, that kind of
Yeah, yeah.
age, and the high caliber of pop album that this is that's what makes me excited because I'm like, what do you have next, dude? Because like whatever he has next, you know what I mean? We could be talking like. This is Harry Styles' Dark Side of the Moon. Like, we don't know if it's going to get there, but he could get there as an artist. There's so much. This is a classic, probably of this era, going to be a classic pop record, I think.
Yeah.
I think there's a lot of the songs in here are pretty strong.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Are you guys familiar with Fine Line? The
Yeah,
album
the album
beforehand?
before this. That one is.
Okay.
That one for me is like. It's progression. I think this one is more
This is more
concise.
sure, but I thought the high points on Fine Line were higher than the high points on this album. Cause that like Watermelon Sugar, and what was the other big hit off that?
No, I'm not gonna be able to remember.
I don't know. But Watermelon Sugar became a meme anyway.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? Like everybody on TikTok was using
the other
that
song I like more. I think. What was
I'm
that
not sure what
called?
the other song is. I know Watermelon Sugar, but
But for me,
Adore You.
yes.
okay.
For me, I just think this is like the way
That was a
it's-
dancier record. That was a pop record. This is
Yeah.
adult contemporary, growing up, maturing, in a heavy relationship with an older woman.
It's
blah, blah,
exactly
blah,
what I
blah.
was gonna say.
Yeah.
I think it has like more maturity, where like I would be genuinely interested instead of just like this is a pop record. I think he's gonna go more in the adult contemporary realm. Like for me, like the instruments on here were more interesting. They weren't all like dum 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 dum.
Yeah.
So I also like your ballad point. Boyfriend on there was such a great tune because it shows his bit where he's kind of like, your boyfriend's never going to be as good as Harry Styles is, which is like his thing, and it's like that's like but it's also kind of like a leaving of that kind of like a boyfriend kind of song for him, I think, and I just see like that kind of outgrowing where he sees that he's that I'm your like boyfriend wish guy, and I think that song was kind of like a homage to that, and maybe like a further like leaving from that and becoming more of like a because he's the sex symbol guy and instead of the boyfriend guy now. He's like, really putting himself out there in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
Like he decided to be on Better Homes and Gardens, which is no for real though, because he could have went. His marketing team could have went the other way with it and went on, all these other, you know what I mean?
Teen whatevers.
Yes.
Yeah.
And even to be like, I'm sure Rolling Stone probably would have taken him again for the cover.
Oh
and
man,
it's,
I bet he was on the cover of 15 different magazines in the past month.
Yeah, and but you know what I mean. That's what I'm.
Yeah.
I think it's a great record. It's probably going to be my favorite pop record of the year. I can't imagine me liking another one as much.
Rihanna might drop a. I don't know. She just had a baby.
But
Looks like the wait's gonna be a little longer for Rihanna album.
I really, really loved it.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
I like his dancier, fun stuff more, but I think his acoustic, slow burn stuff on this album was really well done, and like I don't pore over the lyrics and look up at Genius and like dissect everything, but it's good music, and it's like it's coming from him. His co-producers are an artist named Kid Harpoon and another guy named Tyler Johnson, who are like his co-writers and co-producers of this whole album. They worked on the majority of the Fine Line album, and that might be his team moving forward to push this sound, keep it going. And he'll never be like a Justin Timberlake type artist who was like, I want to be making Michael Jackson records, dance and pop and hooks and radio. I think now I'm going to say a name that's like a musical and style and pop culture like icon and like broke the mold. He's not going to be that guy. But I think he is more into like a David Bowie type of guy.
Yeah, 100%.
Who is
yeah.
I'm just making my music. I'm a guy living my life with my point of view and my co-collaborators musically, and we're going to make albums. And yeah.
That's who I see him as well, like a David Bowie character who, because like even we have like the breakout albums here, and David Bowie had like his incubation period, and I think it's that's why I see it like I'm just like it's exciting,
and it won't be like David Bowie because back then you made 2 albums a year and like things were on this cycle. It's not like that anymore.
Yeah.
No, but like artistically, like that kind of career, I definitely see that. I agree with everything you said too. Like the dancey tracks work best on this record, the upbeat, but ballads are great listens.
Yeah.
Also, shout out to those cool vocals on is it Satellite?
Satellite, yeah.
Satellite.
Dave Matthews is on this album. He just pops up. He's buried in the mix doing like weird harmonies. Yeah, I love the layering. I love the
Oh no, dude, that was funny as hell. I'm glad
I love
you did.
the vocal layering, and he has a great voice. He has his sound. It's a very pleasant, middle of the road type of sound, meaning like I think everybody enjoys what he does vocally.
Yeah.
He doesn't try to sing crazy high powerful stuff. He doesn't. He is in his lane. He does his thing. Yeah. It's good sounding stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right on. Well, there you have it.
Are we gonna? Do you want to give the grade? Want to give the grade?
Sure. Let's do both. Kendrick Lamar.
I don't want to grade that one though.
No,
I'm not ready to grade that.
We'll
one.
grade that one when we come back.
Yeah,
with it.
that one's got the return segment. But
Okay,
then we'll
all
give our
right.
grade on that
We're
one.
going pitchfork out of 10.
Yeah.
Let's go out of 10.
Yeah.
I mean, I'll give this a strong 8. I think for like a bubblegum pop album. I think
saying-
it's, for its genre, I'm giving it an 8. Overall, maybe a 7.5.
Yeah, I'll say a 7. And if I sit with it, I did listen to this like 4 times back to back to back to back when the day it came out. It's a 7. If I get more into the second half, it could get better.
Yeah, it's a Scranton 7, you might say.
That's right.
This is a 7. If I'm thinking critically,
Yeah.
7.
Yeah.
If I'm thinking personally, it's a 9 because I like it
Yeah.
personally as a 9.
Go with your personal. That's your real rating.
I'm going critically.
No,
it's a 7.
you go personal.
It's a 7 all day.
What is this dichotomy?
Because if I'm like being honest, like if I were to tell somebody what I think this is, I think
Yeah.
it's a 7. Do I like it more than 7? Yeah.
Yeah.
I go full Anthony Fantano, and I just go with how I feel.
Yeah, you go heart.
Yeah.
Pitchfork gave it a 7.2 just for to
Okay.
throw that out there.
Yeah,
so.
I did see that.
Yeah,
I
you
did
saw
see
that. Yeah, it's a good article. But anyway, so there you have it.
Yeah.
Harry Styles, Harry's House. Let us know what you think. Did you like it? Did you enjoy listening to it?
Did you read the Better Homes and Gardens?
I did. Well, I read half of it.
I enjoyed listening to it, man. To listen to an album 4 times in a row over like a 3-hour period, I was into it.
Yeah, right?
It was
I didn't go, yeah, okay, I get it.
It was exciting
Yeah.
for me for once to be into an album that was on the radio, and like we got it like the day it came out, and like we were listening to it, and then I went out to get Jewel Pods, and I turned on the radio in the car hoping to hear it, and first click, bam, singles on, and I'm like, that was a cool moment for me. I'm like, this never happens for me ever.
He's like, wait a minute, Black Dog came out in
Well,
72?
that happens for people all the time. They like a new song, it's on the radio. That never happens for me and you.
Yeah, right.
You never hear your new band's favorite song on the radio. It almost never happens.
It's true. It's true.
And so when it does happen, you're like, this is great. I remember I heard a Bully song on a college radio station, and I almost I lost my mind. I was excited as if they were standing in front of me.
Yeah. Right on. So there you go. Like I said, let us know what you think. Also, don't forget to like and comment and subscribe.
Yeah.
Awaken the primordial algorithm. Until next time, I've been Mike.
I've been Luke.
I've been Jeff.
Get in the garage.
This has been a presentation from the Wasted Robot Network. For more information and links to other shows, please visit www.wastedrobotrecords.com/podcasts.